Someone's old man is snoring very loud because it is downpouring outside. I apologize. If you don't end up hearing it, I actually tapped into some editing skills and taught myself how to drown out the background noise. So shout out to me if you hear it. My bad. But I want to say welcome to a new series. I don't know if it's a series or if it's almost like an episode or season format. But what I want to start is this series or type of online show called Cross State Comics. The idea is I'm going to go all across the state of Michigan, my home state, and go to every comic book shop if possible. Now, where the brainstorming comes in is how exactly I want to do this. This will be kind of like a pilot episode to try to pique your interest and see if this is something you want to get into. The idea is at least weekly, every other week, or for sure I'm going to try to hit every 3 weeks. Go out, expand my horizons, and check out some new comic book shops. If monthly, I promise that is the latest I'll try to do. At least an episode a month. I'm going to try to do more than that. So far, I've gone to a couple comic book shops. So what I'm either going to do is refilm it and get better clips. Try to do my best at showing you all of what those comic book shops are like. And then I'm also going to have almost a rule set, or I don't know what you want to call it, like standards for how I'm going to rate these comic book shops. I've come up with a couple. There will be price, because everybody has a budget, whether it's high or low. That'll help a lot for if you guys are trying to get out of your shell and explore a new comic book shop, or you haven't been to one yet. I want to give you a really good understanding at what they can offer you. So price for sure to help you get in the door. Like, am I gonna be able to get a decent amount of stuff for what I'm able to spend? A big one I really want to touch on is wow factor. You'll go into a comic book shop sometimes and it's like, hey, respectfully, I could find what you have anywhere else. That's not a diss. It's like, at least you have the selection you have and you're able to get people into the hobby. But wow factor would be, is there a first appearance here? Is there a lot of like graded comics that are first appearances or really impressive? Is there a really impressive comic sitting in a dollar bin or just sitting out for a really good price? And that kind of goes alongside with the prices too. But wow factor is one that I really hope some of the comic book shops hit on, because some of the ones I've went to kind of have that first thing I was explaining where it's like, this feels like a lot of comic book shops have this. Another one would be tidiness or organization. If I go in there, am I going to be able to find what I'm looking for relatively easy at least? Because some people will do, hey, this is the relevant stuff, but then here's our alphabetical, and the alphabetical might be trade paperbacks, collected editions, and then they have alphabetical with the single issues. That'd be perfect. I just went into a comic shop that's gonna be in this video that had that, and I was amazed. There's another one I'm really trying to think of. I can't remember, but I'll have them all on the screen for you right here. But without further ado, I'm going to show you all the places I went to this past week. Now, before we get right into it, what I do want to say is some of it after these clips I got are going to be heavy on hauls afterward, me showing off what I got. What I need to get better at is just spamming clips, showing you every inch I can. Probably not, obviously. We need some privacy for some of the people in the store and the workers, but showing you as much as possible and helping you be as informed as possible so you don't just waste your time going somewhere because I said it was cool and then you're like, it wasn't really for me. Like, I wish you would have showed this, that. Honestly, with these trips and some of the ones in the past I haven't recorded enough, that is something I'm going to work on. And I've even looked into getting like glasses that record, because then it's like a automatic, I'm always recording so I can pick from what I want, and then it's like, this is what I see. So if there's something to the side, I might have my camera wide and you can kind of see it but not see it good enough. Well, if it's to the side, then if I'm wearing glasses, I'll kind of look over and you can get a better view. So I will get better at that. There's not going to be too much in here, but you're going to get a rough idea. And if I ever have to revisit some of these places and get better clips for you, I promise I will. But for the meantime, I'm going to be giving them fair ratings on everything that I saw, whether sadly you saw it or not with the lack of clips. The first shop I went to was Comicade in Farmington Hills, Michigan. Overall, the store was really cool. They had a great selection of collected editions, single issues. They had import figures, some Mayfex. They had some Hot Toys, retro figures, like my mom pointed out, and I think I have a video of it, and I will show it. There was a retro Star Wars, like X-Wing, I believe, and she was shouting out like, I remember having that as a kid. It even has this play feature or whatever.
Which one? Oh.
And I think you would push down there.
They had a decent, I've seen way better for sure, but they had a decent selection of McFarlane, a decent selection of Marvel Legends, if not way better than the McFarlane. My only criticism for the store is it was not like properly organized. I will say though, this is not, I never want to tear down somebody. I'm just trying to let you know ahead of time. They are definitely trying to do the most with the room or space that they have. They're in kind of like one of those, I think they're called outlet malls where it's a bunch of stores next to each other, but outside. And I think they do fine. Like, they have so much stuff. It's awesome. The only thing, the reason I have to take some back from it is it was a little too unorganized where I couldn't get to everything. It wasn't just they had some stuff here and there. Like, I went to a Bring Your Own Books. That was one of the most unorganized I've seen a store, but I think they got a lot more inventory they were trying to get in. So that's all I have to say. It has great reviews on Google, so I guarantee, like, when I was in there, the atmosphere was good. And hey, if taking away points for the organization, bonus points, they're playing Better Call Saul, and these like 3 or 4 dudes were just chatting it up, like having a good time. I only ended up getting 2 things because a lot of the single issues, I was going to deep dive for some Green Lantern single issues to see what I could find. I was having a hard time finding it, and it was like there was some stuff blocking it. But what I did find behind the counter was the one, and then the collected edition I'm going to show you, I low-key had to like kind of reach around something. And I was like, please don't let me fall. I'm going to be embarrassed. I would never sue. I would just be so embarrassed. But I got the foil cover for Absolute Green Lantern #1. I have the other foil cover for this, where it's like the normal cover of it, but in foil. What I really want to do is, I believe there's one of these for all the different Absolutes. I would love to have all the logos for foil cover. So this is why I'm at least decently high on the store. This was awesome to find. Talking pricing, this was $10. I think they're marked at $7 for basically the retail or what they get them for. $10 I think is standard for most places to sell this for, so I understand. The next one was retail as well. This is Doomsday Clock Part 1. I found Part 2 at an Ollie's for like $5. Didn't realize it was Part 2 until after I bought it. I'm really happy to finally have Part 1 so I can finally read the story. Like I said, this was retail, so $25. Not bad. They don't get any extra bonus points for being on sale, but they're not getting any taken away from like having it, at resale value. Okay, for the second store, I don't have to explain so much because I have videos of it, and I know there's some videos out there. If I find some for Comicade too, I'll try to have the photos up on the screen while I'm talking in videos too. But the second store I went to was Comic City, I believe in West Bloomfield. I will show a picture up on the screen of exactly where it's at, the precise address. But to keep it short and sweet, this comic shop, I'm pretty sure, was ran by this older woman that was helping me with the comic books I was checking out. If it's not her, she must have a huge hand in the organization of the store. Like, people have this phrase, a woman's touch. The store was set up so beautifully, so well organized, and you could tell they put time and effort into it looking good. To say that the layout super quick, because I know I do have videos and they have some videos. It was basically like the collected editions were on the outside. They had a table like right at the opening of the building, like just to the right of like the relevant stuff. So of course they had a bunch of Superman stuff. They had a bunch of shelving units for New Comic Book Day, all the super relevant stuff. And then they had tables for the like $3 bins, $1 bins. I think it might have been all dollar bins. I might be thinking of the next place. But get this. Dollar bins were organized. Like, that is something you don't always come by, and that's how you tell if they truly care. Now, I will say, from what I remember, they didn't bag any of the comics, or especially not bag and board. With how organized it was, were cool. So I'm going to show you what I got. I ended up spending ahead of time $87 for this haul, so you can tell me if you thought it was worth it, and I'll tell you what I think after. Starting out with the dollar bin pickup, the only one I really wanted that I found, we have Phantom Lantern DC Universe Rebirth, issue number 10, Green Lanterns. This cover is so sweet, and it has a panel in here I just love of Simon, where it's him as all the different Lantern Corps. Love it. Next up, we have Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell, 2 of 3. I can't wait to read the rest of this. I'm not trying to take too much time. This is a great story, a really brief synopsis. He's older in this. He's extra kind to people, and he's basically just getting used. He works at a soup kitchen, and there's even these burglars that just use him or are like ridiculously mean to him. I am super interested in this, and the fact they have Bullseye at the end and Punisher too, and the way they show Punisher, boy, this is gonna be a hell of a 3-parter. By the way, also, these were retail. So this was $7, but that's basically what they charge. Like, it wasn't the store, it's what they charge, like Marvel. Next up, we have Medieval Spawn. This was $4. All of this was retail, so I'm not giving them any extra points for them being on sale, but they shouldn't be. But I'm not taking any away because they don't mark up at all. Medieval Spawn, issue 2. I have issue 3. Can't wait to read both of these. Issue 1 was really good so far. I honestly liked it. Justice League Unlimited number 2. I love the cover for this. Dan Mora always kicks ass with art, and Mark Waid's writing is really good. I have 6 and 7 too, so now all I need is 3, 4, 5. Another one, I always say excited, but I really do love the comic books. Super excited for this. Ghost Machine issue number 1. I haven't heard enough of this in a good way where it has me intrigued, where I get to experience it. We have Geiger though, so I'm almost going to like it by default. This girl I'm not too aware of or know basically anything about, so it's another like pique my interest. And then I do know this is Redcoat. I don't know anything about him though. Now, for the collected editions, they had a sale. It was 4 for $3. So obviously, you get $4 for the price of 3. Here's what I ended up picking out, and I'll tell you which one technically was the free one because it was the cheapest. First off, I went in looking for this, and I didn't realize it was in that section in the front for Superman. One I've heard everybody talk about, that if you like the movie, go ahead and read this. You'll really enjoy it. Superman for All Seasons. This is Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. The older lady that was helping me at first before, like being like, oh, hey, you know, you can help him with the rest, with the other worker, recommended to me, I think it's Spider-Man Blue or Red and Blue. And then, what was the other one that's killing me? Daredevil Yellow, I believe, because it's Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. They are an iconic duo. So I can't wait to read this. If this is good, which... if it sounds like it's going to be amazing, I am going to be checking those out. Huge shout out to her. You could tell she truly cared. And she was doing that like, hey, great picks here. And she did tell me about that deal. And the way I loved that she acted, she didn't come across like, buy more from us. It was like, hey, I'm not just trying to get you to pay us more or whatever, but we are running a 4 for $3. So if you want to pick out another issue, or technically 2, you'll pay for that 3rd, but then you get the 4th for free. So next up, this ended up being the free one. Geiger, Volume 2, trade paperback. I love the cover on this thing. I actually really like the one on Volume 1. It was just like a simple like caution or hazard symbol. This one is just kick-ass. So can't wait to read that. Loved Volume 1. The other one I got, I've never read any Nightwing yet, and I hear such good things about it that I got Nightwing On With The Show, trade paperback, Volume 1, I believe. That would stink if it was anything else. And then last up, the last collected edition, Lee Bermejo, Batman Noel. This is apparently like the Christmas story or the Christmas Carol where you have the ghost of past, present, and future. And they use some of Batman's allies and enemies. I think Joker might be future. I know Superman is one, and then I think Catwoman. Can't wait to read this. And I love the figures. Like, if you can see it, I actually have the platinum right here. So the experience of the store, absolutely loved it. Super organized, good prices. It was either retail or they were doing great deals for liquidation, like the dollar bins. They had some really good Green Lantern stuff in there that I saw. If I had to rate the store, I would probably give it a 5. Like, customer service was great. Organization was great. The prices were great. I'm so over the moon on this store. Now, the last one I went to, State of Comics in Plymouth, Michigan, was basically fully for spectacle. They had cutouts of Star Wars characters that everybody would love. I think they had a BB-8. They had C-3PO for sure. I think Chewbacca and Kylo Ren, I know my girlfriend loves, unfortunately. But they had pinball machines. It was like one of those hangout areas and then a shop if you want it to be that. Like, they had like the gacha games or the like vending machines almost. They had like anything, posters, tons of comics in $1 bin, $3 bin. They had variant covers. They had figures, and boy, did they have figures. I think they might have had Mafex and Mezco. If not, they had a bunch of hot toys. Basically, that hot commodity stuff. So this is one of those places where, as much as I loved Comic City, State of Comics had that wow factor where you go in and you're like, wow, like literally. So I only ended up getting 2 things though, funny enough, but I was very happy with it. First off, I got the Green Lantern issue 39. This is from, I love that it says early. I never see that, but early May of 93. This is older, and this was in the dollar bin. Great condition on this. It's got Adam Strange in it too, so I was really excited to get this. And then the last thing I got, and it is so cool. I haven't seen any of the others yet, I'm assuming because of how popular they are. I got the Absolute Green Lantern poster. This was only $15. I think that's what people usually sell the posters for, so I'm not taking any points or giving any on that. I think I'll just give them full points because a lot of this stuff was retail or I think pretty competitively priced. Now for your final scores for each of the shops I went to, starting out with Comicade, of course. Starting with price, I gave them a 4 out of 5. A lot of the stuff seemed at about retail. I feel like some kind of treaded the line where some was a little cheaper, that helps them. Some was a little higher than it should be. But stuff fluctuates so much, I'm leaving them with a 4 that I think is a very solid score. For space, this is one of the ones they really got docked for. They got a 3 out of 5. This is just kind of out of their control, and this isn't something that's meant to be an insult toward the owners or the store in general. It's just a lot smaller than some of the other stores I've been to. And for organization, the same thing. The thing that's hard to tell is a lot of these stores I'm going to be going to, I only ever will have one chance to go to it, or it'll be super uncommon. If I ever have to change scores, I promise I will. But when I went to Comicade, they had so much that they were probably rearranging or organizing that it does take away from it. Where they actually score pretty high, I would say, is the atmosphere, like I was talking about prior. They had people just chopping it up. They were so chill for my first time being there. And then Better Call Saul on the TV. I love it. I was literally in the other side of the store, never saw the TV ahead of time. I heard, what's his name, Bob Odenkirk's voice, and I immediately knew. Like, I turned to my mom, I was like, Better Call Saul? And she's like, yeah, I think so. And last, for the wow factor, I'm giving them a 4 out of 5. There was Hot Toys, there was Mayfax, there was vintage toys. It seemed like they had a good selection throughout all the eras. So they score a grand total of 3.8 out of 5. Next up is Comic City's ratings. Starting out with price, I thought they had very reasonable prices. Most of the time, things were retail, and then they had a great selection of those dollar bin single issues. So that, for me, bumps them up, and I'm giving them a 5. For space, they're also going to get a 5. They had a really nice space, and they use it so well. For organization, same thing here, a 5. Like I said, they had a woman's touch to the store. They had everything laid out so beautifully, like they thought ahead, and they had it organized so well too. For atmosphere, this one's a little bit more subjective. I gave them a 4 out of 5 as well, like Comicade. It could honestly be a 5 out of 5. It was just really quiet. What I will say really helps for that 4 out of 5, though, is the customer service. The one was really chill and laid back, but that older lady was so kind and looking out, so I'm giving them a 4 out of 5. For wow factor, they will also be getting a 4 out of 5. It seemed like they had great stock, but not necessarily anything too crazy, like any crazy first appearances, or from what I saw, I could be completely wrong and I apologize. I don't think they had a lot of graded comics or anything that would be like genuinely like, wow. So for Comic City's total, they're going to be getting a 4.6 out of 5. Next up, we got State of Comics rankings. Starting off with price, this one was a little tricky for State of Comics. Some of the stuff I couldn't remember how they were priced. I mean, they had a good amount of dollar bin and $3 bin, so that definitely bumps them up. The only thing I could really refer to was some of the more high ticket figures they had, the Hot Toys ones, for example, and most of them seemed priced rated about what they would go for. Although in the one section that I recorded, it seemed like 2 were a little off. One was just barely up, and then one was really up. There's a 3-pack of the Snyderverse Mezco figures, Superman, Batman, and then Flash, and that goes for around, I think, $270. I think they had just Batman and Superman for $270, no Flash. So it kind of offsets it a little bit, but it seems like their prices in general are really fair. Like that poster being $15, I think that's what they go for, and then really good $3 and $1 bins. Next up, we have Space, and I think it's only fair to give them a 5. This was a huge comic book shop, and I love that they, like City Comics, were making the most out of their space. They had pinball machines, they had a bunch of shelves. I think they even had a sitting area for reading books, and they had a really nice like used book area, like normal ones that you could buy too. So I did really like that. The only weird thing that plays into something later is there was like nobody in there when I was there. For organization, I basically just touched on it a little bit. They're getting a 5 out of 5 as well. I really like the setup of the store. They had a bunch of shelves. They had collected editions together, omnibus, manga. They had figures in a certain spot, your new comic book releases. They had the dollar bins and $3 bins organized so well, so it's only fair to give them a 5. For atmosphere, again, kind of subjective. I'm giving them a 4 out of 5. I feel like at different hours of the day, this place would be buzzing. Whether it's the pinball machines and some of the fun arcade stuff or gotcha stuff, or even the area where you could just sit and read some of your books. But obviously, they're getting a 4 out of 5 because when I was there, I didn't really see any of it. For wow factor, again, I think it's only fair for State of Comics to get a 5. Going in and genuinely having that feeling of what did I just step into with the really cool Star Wars cutouts, the pinball machines. They even had this really cool one. I will make sure I show a video. It was a Marvel one. It had like Wolverine and Magneto. It looked so tough. And they had a couple others. And like I said, that area that you can sit and read, and the way they had everything laid out, so organized, and genuinely playing into it too. The huge space, they're getting 5 points on wow factor. Unintentionally, funny enough, just like City Comics, they get a 4.6 out of 5. The last thing I want to ask is, have any of you been to any of these locations I went to today? And is there any more in the area that you would recommend? The whole idea of these videos is to inform you and give you a good critique of how these comic stores are. I promise I'm never going to try to tear down these stores. And the only thing to really get any of these stores really low scores is based on the factors I already have, obviously, but bad customer service, terrible organization or layout, and that's about it. Over the course, I'm assuming it's going to be pretty hard to get low scores, but we'll just have to see. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm trying to get this series out there, so if you enjoy it that much too, please send it to a friend. If you guys have any feedback for me, I'm more than welcome to listen to it.